Hello everyone, my name is Fatima and welcome back to the Race Edit. And if you're new here, welcome to the Race Edit and welcome to a new episode. Welcome to a little, fun episode. I don't know, you guys. I was bored the other day and I was perusing the internet just looking for some Formula One news, some things, and I came across an old form and I spent so many hours reading this form. I just love seeing discussion topics of pretty much yesteryear, and I like to see how it relates to what's going on in the sport now. And I spent a good chunk of time going through it, and I figured, you know what, this could be a cool video podcast episode to do. And so here I am. I have my camera, I have my mic, I have my phone. Let's just go right into it. So the first is from July 2006. So that was the furthest I went back. I think the next time when I do this, I'm going to go back further, but it goes, Williams, will they ever return to the glory days? Hey, we never know. It could happen. But the post says, by Ralph Fan, I have been a big fan of Williams over the years, and who can not admire Frank Williams and Patrick Heath for what they have contributed to motor racing. But Williams have been so off color the past few years. Their last win was in 2004, and they haven't come close since then. Their last championship was almost 9 years ago. 9 years! Double exclamation point. Their last championship challenger came in 2003, some 3 years ago. And their last podium was in '05, almost a year ago if I'm not mistaken. Last weekend was even more damning. 9 finishers in the Williams car, not even in the points. And then they go, even McLaren had their years in the wilderness, but somehow I always got the feeling they would rise again, which they did. With Williams, I'm just not sure. And then they go, the only spark of hope I see for Williams is Nico Rosberg, a young driver who I think the team can build around and return to their glory days. But how long before his sets sight on moving elsewhere if Williams don't produce? So the question really is, can Williams return to the glory years, or will they remain a midfield team for the rest of their years and slowly slide away like Lotus and Terrell and many others? And you know what? This is from July 2006. I think the last time Williams won a race was in 2012 with Pastor Maldonado. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the last time I think they won a race. And I have to agree with this person. I have to agree with this person. I mean, I feel like, y'all know, I'm a Williams fan, low-key. And I feel like, because I love to see the underdog win, obviously. I feel like at least I go into every season where I'm like, okay, Williams, maybe this will be your year. Maybe this will be your year. And it always starts off strong-ish for me, and then something happens. I mean, we're going into 2025, and I'm like, okay, they have a good lineup for their drivers. James Vowles seems to be on the steady going forward. And I'm like, maybe this could be a year where we see some advancements with Williams. Will they win a race in 2025? I can't say yes. But could there be a podium in their forecast for 2025? If things go right, there could be a podium, which would be really great for Williams. I would love to see a Williams podium. But this person, someone underneath that thread says, I suspect that Williams will return to the glory days, most probably with the team built around Nico Rosberg. This hurts to read. Whilst it's true that Williams have gone nearly 9 years since winning the championship, they did look very competitive in the early part of this decade, and it's not as bad as Ferrari's 21 years without a championship. Williams also have good facilities. Plus, believe that these and a team built around Nico Rosberg could prove to be a strong lineup in the seasons ahead. That said, I suspect the next couple of seasons are going to be pivotal in being able to construct a car capable of using these strengths. Otherwise, as Ralph Fan points out, they could be akin to Lotus in their last few seasons. And it really sucks to see the hope around Nico Rosberg in a 2025 lens for Williams, because he was a great young driver, and I don't think he had a bad run at Williams, but it was all right. But obviously we saw him do bigger, better at Mercedes. He won the 2016 championship, you know what I mean, the WDC. So big yikes. What else is going on here? I really do hope that this year will change. This is me saying it. I really do hope that this year will change for Williams and they will be able to rise above. But man, it's crazy seeing something from 2006 still reign true in this 2025 that we're in right now. Weber. So this person says, I think Williams are in big trouble, yada yada yada. Weber too is quite overrated in my book. Rosberg is a star for the future, but not very experienced in setting up a car or doing much development work. So really, Williams are in trouble because all of the top manufacturers have their own teams, and even if Williams gets customer engines, they will always be they're right. They will always be a step or two behind the works team's engines. This person does not like Mark Webber. Ditch Webber while they're at it. I'm afraid we're going to see a continuous decline of what was once a great team. And again, this was from July 2006. And again, I'm holding out hope for Williams, but it ain't easy. It's not easy. They should have never let Adrian Newey go. Yeah. But Adrian Newey likes challenges also, which I'm like, why did you go back to Williams? Go back home, go back to something that could really be. I mean, again, you have the Lawrence Stroll offering you the checkbook, any price. So, yeah, I would. Yeah. Would you say no to that? You know? Let's see what this one says. So, this one is from September 10th, 2006, and it goes, who will Schumacher fans support next year? This is the predicament I find myself in now. Shall I carry on supporting the same team and Kimi and Felipe, or shall I find a British driver, Hamilton, Button, or maybe one of the next generation, Hamilton, Kovalainen, Rosberg, Kubica, PK Jr.? What are the thoughts of all the Schumacher fans? Yeah. For me, it has to be Kimmy, says someone. And then another person says, I've been asking myself this question for the last few hours, actually. Michael has been my favorite driver since I've been watching, so it's hard. I have to say, I think maybe supporting drivers like Kubica, Rubens Barrichello, Rosberg, Fischella, Massa, Raikkonen, and Ralph, because those are other drivers who I strongly support in the moment and will be pleasing to see how these drivers do. I don't think I'll support another driver within a couple of years as I did with Schumacher. I love this person. When you support a driver, you won't think about it. He or she will just come to you. It could be a current driver or a future driver. And they're so right. Genuinely, it just, aside of supporting Hamilton, because I've always supported Hamilton outside of Formula One, inside of Formula One, but aside of him, where did I become an Oscar Piastri fan? It just happened one day. And now I'm like, oh, cool. I'm a Piastri fan. I am an Esteban Ocon fan. To be fair, I'm an Esteban Ocon fan because I support his wrongs. Now, when I say that, I mean, I feel like he is unfairly, I don't want to say treated. I feel like he's misunderstood is what I should say, because yes, he can be aggressive, he can be an aggressive driver, that is a fact, but I do think he is a misunderstood driver. And because of that, I was like, and you know me, I always love to support the underdog, and Esteban Ocon was an underdog. And I can tell you the exact moment when I started supporting Esteban Ocon. It was when Racing Point let him go, and Esteban was walking with like his stuff in a bag or whatever, and they pulled him for an interview, and I was like, there's no way this is real. You guys are not doing this to this kid right now. He just got let go and he has his little sack with him, and you're forcing him to do an interview. That was the exact moment where I was like, nah, I support this kid. I actually do. Oh, SD. I have to find that video. I've been looking for that video for so long. I feel like it was a Will Buxton interview. It's always a Will Buxton interview, but no longer because he's going to Indy. This person says, I'll support Ferrari and see what happens, although I'm leaning towards Massa. He must be something special with Michael and Todd holding him in such high regard. I mean, no, let me not do that, because I'm just, not his biggest fan as of right now because of all the drama. But, however, yeah. Have any of you considered Ralph, ... question mark? Listen, yeah? Nepotism in Formula One works differently, I have to say. Driver nepotism, in this current year, works differently. That's all I'm going to say. Not who will all those Americans support. I can't. Oh my gosh, people, it's so funny going through these forums. I'm like, you're all the same. The conversation points are all the same. The drama, the sarcasticness, it's all the same, just a different generation. Like whatever's going on F1, when you go on Twitter, when you go on TikTok, when you go on Instagram, Threads, name it, you name it, we all think that we're so different in our conversation points and conversation topics. It's all the same, just different drivers. Nothing has changed. That is what I've learned. What's going on here? Who will be the But no, wait, actually before I go back, let me go back to that one. The reason I chose back that one, it was because I was thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, I'm a Hamilton fan. I support Lewis Hamilton through and through. What will I do when he retires? And I was like, wait, yeah, I have my line of drivers that outside of Hamilton I support. And now with the new generation of drivers coming up, I'm curious to see who I'm going to be rooting for the most. I already know that like there's a few that I'm like, oh, I hope you do well. I mean, I do. I hope all the rookies do well. It's not going to be that way, but I really do. But I am curious to see. Okay. Who will be the next most hated Formula One driver? This one is from October 2006. And they say, a lot has been said about Schumacher and the end of his career. In this 15 years, the anti-Schumacher fans have become a very large club, and now that he's going to retire, I'm wondering who will be the next most hated F1 driver. Until now, those fans had Schumi to blame for almost everything. Sounds familiar. You can imagine. So who will take his place? For what it's going on right now with Alonso shooting in every direction since he lost the lead in the WDC, and considering he's not popular for an F1 world champion, maybe he will be the next most hated F1 driver. What do you think? Mind you, this is 2006, and the thread goes, I agree. Alonso's lining himself up with some of his most recent comments. Even just a few weeks ago, I didn't take too much attention to what he was saying with constant comments about Michelin, Fisi, and his team, but now it's getting a bit stupid. I guess it will be whoever is most successful for that's what normally creates the sniping culture, which is very true. Yeah. It's always who's the number one most undisputed driver. Like, I made one of my very first videos, if not my very first video, when I was talking about Lewis Hamilton, I'm pretty sure I went off and I was like, Schumacher was hated. Alonso, did I say Alonso? No, I said Schumacher was hated. I said Vettel was hated. I said Hamilton hated. I said Verstappen, same old stuff. Like, it's whoever is consistently number one that is the most hated, because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't in the world of fans of Formula One. And that's just how it's been for decades. Really. That's really how it's been for decades. I mean, definitely without fault, Vettel was hated. He was hated. Hamilton was hated. Is still hated. And it's the same thing with Schumi. It's like consistently blamed for one either being too PR trained or not being too PR trained. I'm like, you can't have both. You can't hate the guy for saying what he wants to say back in the day, but now that, he's 40 years old and he's more demure and more quiet, you're also hating him because he's not relatable and too PR trained. Like, it's just whoever is on top. Verstappen, he's not my number one driver. Do I think that... let's see 2025, how things change with Verstappen and how the public view him. Because I think that could change immensely. I'm curious to see what's going to happen this year. I have thoughts. But all of these ones are saying Alonso. My gosh. Yeah. Except for one person who says, it's hard to believe this thread. Fernando Alonso is really nice chap. I mean, probably. I don't know him. I don't. But I think the... Young Montoya, por favor, Montoya. Sorry. They say, well, next year we'll see if all the Ferrari bashing was really just Michael bashing, or if it wasn't, then Kimi will become F1's next bad guy. Dun, dun, dun. What else do I got here? This is so fun, you guys. I can't. Ooh, this is a good one. What niggles you about Formula One? As staunch fans of the sport, it is often hard for us to criticize it. We, after all, love it. But sometimes, for me at least, it has to be said, little things about it wind me up a treat. I love the verbiage over here. This is from October 2006 as well. So they say, what about the Red Bull driver helmets for a start? They hate it. Because they share a helmet design. They said it's a little thing, but it winds me up. F1 is a business. So this one I thought was quite interesting. Okay, I'm a purist, but is it just me that hates the rampant commercialism of the sport, not the likes that keep the prudent fan interested, merchandise, whatever, but the way the circus seems to be diverting the sport and playing on our love of it to gain new fan bases in different climes. Most of which will never share the passion for the sport, but whom will have passion for the spectacle. I can't really explain myself too well as I'm not that business oriented, but to me it does seem like Formula One has a marketing agenda which neglects its hardcore fandom. It's all about making money, maybe it always has, and F1 is just going with the times, but that doesn't stop it from annoying me. Now, this is something that the part two, the F1 is a business. This is something that I genuinely believe is never going to change in Formula One, that conversation point to me, because we still have that conversation now. I mean, I know this person probably hated it when Liberty Media bought out Formula One and did Drive to Survive. They're probably like, this is not my sport anymore. Or they don't with the times. Because they do seem to understand. That's the thing though. I've said this so many times. Formula One is a business, unfortunately. And they have to make money. They do. And with that comes with the commercialization of the sport. I mean, I do agree. Like, it sucks when, and I literally just made a TikTok about this, but it sucks when you want to go to a GP and you see those GP prices, and you're just like, oof, these tickets, this is expensive. Because you have to pay for the ticket, then you have to pay for your transportation to that place. It could be the same country, it could be a different country, your stay in that place, your food. It all adds up. It does all add up. It's the truth. And then we also see the spectacle of, let's say, the Miami Grand Prix. That is a spectacle. Again, that is to bring on the American market. I do have to say, though, and this is just me, because IndyCar is American, it's always been big in America, yada yada, but the way that they have been promoting this IndyCar on Fox deal, listen, I don't know, man, because I think the way Formula One does their promo suits a certain audience, but IndyCar really has their American audience on lock, and they sold me. I saw that promo of, was it Scott McLaughlin? And then I saw the Pato Award one, and I was like, wait a second, IndyCar, you got me. Yeah, you got me. I might be seated every race. I might be. I think they're doing it absolutely right. They know, they have their promo on lock, and they will capture the American audience with that promo, I have to say. I do. Sorry, that was a sidebar. This person underneath says the frustrating things for them are TV adverts during race broadcasts, British TV, qualifying not always shown live, British TV, oof, 2006, my guy. Fuji instead of Suzuka. Bernie and his moaning about Silverstone. Regulations such as those which require the front wing to be raised and the rear wing to be moved back, resulting in compromised aerodynamic performance. Also, the inability to choose between engine formats restricted to the V8, frozen engines. Now, this is ridiculous. This person has a long list. And then the last one they say is, Toyota don't belong in F1. Yee. Too much. Formula One, too much influence over the rest of the motorsport world. They do. But I do have to say, and maybe this is my bias showing, that with the likes of how Formula One has blown up in the past few years, I do have to say they really did drag alongside a lot of motorsport with them, which is really positive, I have to say. So I'm gonna say that, you know, that's kind of changed. The influence on the rest of motorsport has changed. However, if we go back to what I was supposed to be talking about for this video, which was the FIA updated guidelines when it comes to stewarding fines, what sucks about that is it does affect other FIA accredited sports as well, which is frustrating because, as we know, Formula One is a very expensive sport, and the drivers might not all have the same salary, but they are probably they are the best paid motorsport athletes in the world. And other series don't get that kind of compensation, so those fines are quite unfair when it does come to some of those other series. But again, conversation for a different day. Oh, this is a good one. Fans think they know how to fix Formula One, or fans who think F1 is ruined and say they're never going to watch it again, but do it anyway. Oh my gosh, those ones, those ones. Listen, sometimes the fans are right. Other times, it's just a lot of yapping, my friend. It's just a lot of yapping, and it's hilarious. Okay, this one was very unserious, but I think they were being sarcastic because after a while, it's like, wait a second, they meant, what annoys me in F1 is the whole season. Why weekends? Question mark. Why spread through the year? Why globalized almost in all continents? Why different tracks? It should be, say, a 4-year break between each championship. It should be 1 day quali and 1 day race during each one after the other with 2 day breaks or something. It should be only in 1 month or two max. It should be elected one country to host the comp each 4 years. It should be the same track ever, period. And then they went, looks like another sport. And I was like, wait a second, you got me. I was like, don't watch Formula One then, babes. I don't think this is the sport for you, my friend. I don't. Not a person said Sato, 3 exclamation points in bold. I can't, yo. Nah. We're all the same. We'll never change. It's dangerous to be annoyed as it takes the enjoyment out. But there's a few minor complaints. Okay. All right, you guys. That's, I think, all I have for this video. This was very silly. I think I'm going to do this more often, even if it's just an audio version. Or if it's just a YouTube version. I thoroughly enjoy going through these forums. I think they're so cool. It's literally like a time capsule. It's the history of what Formula One fans are thinking of during those moments. I actually went back and I read a few about Hamilton's debut just for my own self because, I wanted to know what the peoples were saying. I mean, listen. They all predicted he was going to be the next best thing in Formula One, and they were right. They were right. But that's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much for sitting here and watching this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.